Hi, everyone, and welcome back. I'm with Lynn Morgan. How are you doing, Lynn?
I'm doing great.
Okay,
Thank
you're
you.
the chair of the Upcounty Community Council?
Correct.
All right. How long you guys been have the Community Council now?
It's coming up on 7 years.
Oh, okay, pretty
So,
good.
yes.
And you had a meeting last night,
Yes, we did.
and all the cold temperatures up there. What's it been up country? You know, I'm in Pine Grove. It's been about I think about 28 or 26, kind of stuck on there for, man, a lot of days now.
Yes, it's been the low 20s up where we,
Okay.
live. Of course, I look around to Truckee and other places that are in the below zero.
Yeah.
And I think, well, it could be worse, but
Right, but I mean, usually
but it's
maybe it gets
cold.
cold and then it, it warms up for a couple days and
It
gets
does.
cold again. But
It
you got some
does.
good crunchy snow that's sticking around, right?
We do, and I actually personally have slipped and injured my shoulder already because
Okay.
it's warm, it's sunny, you think it's going to be warm, but it's ice and snow hasn't melted.
Right. That's what I think I said on the newscast. You're standing in the sun. You don't notice. Seems like a really nice day.
Right.
And all that. Well, anyway, let's move on. So, the Upcountry Community Council was started with the help of Ted Novelli. Right?
Absolutely.
And he usually shows up at your meetings. Was he there last week?
He absolutely was.
And what did Ted have to say for
He's
himself?
very good about that. He was announcing that there is currently a meeting of the board going on today, which was unscheduled. They normally don't meet every week. But he shared with us a couple of the issues that I wasn't aware of that they had on their agenda that demanded, another meeting. And one of the issues was, it sounds to me like they are talking to both Kaiser Permanente and Anthem Blue Cross to work out an arrangement about medical care for county employees. That's about as much as I know, really.
Oh, okay. So that was for,
Yes.
okay, that was for employees that they're meeting for to talk about that.
I believe so.
I believe it was last meeting of the supervisors. Kaiser was up, and they were talking about extending possible care here at Medi-Cal Medicare patients.
Okay. Well,
So-
I could be wrong then. It could be more focused on that.
I have
Yes.
no idea. I imagine
Okay.
if it was that, maybe it would be an open meeting, but if it's the other way, it's probably closed meeting.
Right.
Anyway, so following that, what was on your-
The focus of our
focus?
meeting was emergency services.
Okay.
And at our last meeting in November, because we canceled our meeting in December, we invited ACART. I always do this name wrong.
Okay.
Amador County Animal Response Team. And what that means is that's a separate organization under the umbrella of the Fire Safe Council in the county that is solely
Right.
deals with the rescue and safety
Right.
of animals.
Right. If there's a fire out there, and we have to go to emergency shelters and things like that, there's also a place for animals, large animals, and
And
things
small
like that.
animals.
Right.
Absolutely.
Large and small.
And
'Cause
they
you don't
are.
take the small animals with you to.
They don't
maybe
allow
the-
it.
this-
They,
okay,
they actually
all
don't allow it. So it's a great organization, and they are and it's all volunteer. And the volunteers are in the process of becoming certified so that they have official, I believe they even do CPR. They learn CPR and, things to do to care for animals, especially if they're stressed or hurt, for that matter,
Sure.
Through the emergency. So that was very interesting. The first speaker that we had was actually from Calaveras County,
Okay.
Dennis Lewis, who's the program manager over there. Actually, Calaveras County is about 8 years ahead of Amador County in terms of certifying and training citizens to be of help during an emergency.
Okay.
put it
And
simply.
if they're ahead of us, is there some place where everybody's supposed to be, or do you just mean that?
Well, it's interesting. They put on a lot of training, and they actually include Amador County in their countywide training sessions. The actual location of emergency services changes per emergency, depending on whether it's available or not. But it's really some basic emergency
Okay,
training. Yes.
I'm not quite clear on what this is. maybe we can take a break at this time. When we come back, you can fill me in a little bit more of what it is we're talking about. And stay with us right here. We'll be back with Lynn Morgan. I want to make sure I get her name right. Lynn Morgan from Upcountry Community Council right after this break. Stay with us.
You're watching Amador County's local television network, TSPN.
On remote areas, which is why Upcountry was very interested in it.
Okay.
Mr. Lewis himself has to get on a little four-wheeler to get in snow to get to his truck to go anywhere.
Okay.
So, I mean, he's just an example. So the idea is
How does the team communicate with each other when if there's somebody to respond to?
That's a good question. And for the most part, obviously cell phones, but cell phone service is not good. They use some radio.
Okay.
You know, I used to call it ham radio, but it's not called that anymore. But, essentially, if they have power, they'll use internet. I mean, they'll use and telephone. They'll use every possible way they can.
Okay, so is this a loose knit organization, or is this a?
My understanding is it is not loose knit. It's actually very structured.
Okay.
They started this a number of years ago, and since Sergeant Silva in Amador County is a relatively new position, we are. And that
He's
was our
the director of Amador County Office of Emergency Services.
Right.
Okay.
He is very well aware of what Calaveras County is doing, and there are some of the things that we will be mirroring.
I'm going to get Dennis on, Dennis Lewis, who's the program manager in Calaveras Emergency Response Team, and we'll talk with him, and maybe he can
clarify.
And we'll give him his own time.
That sounds
great. You want
great.
to stay on this longer, or do you want to move forward?
Just for a moment.
Okay.
Again, my understanding is because of the remoteness of these areas, and of course our first responders are wonderful about getting there very fast, but sometimes if somebody else is there that knows what to do, to put a blanket over somebody or to whatever, in the first 15 minutes, it can make a difference. So I think that's the goal.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And we're talking about safety and emergency guide and stuff. And here's a publication that the Sheriff's Department put out, and it's quite a nice little magazine. I mean, it's nice and glossy, and
they strongly recommend that everybody, look at it, read it. It's pretty quick read. It's not very intensive or technical.
Okay. Is it something somebody should look at before they have an emergency?
Absolutely. In fact, they have a set of 3 of these little booklets. Actually, the Ready is over there, and they're Ready, Set, Go.
Ready, Set, Go. Right. Okay.
And
the Ready part is over there. I'm not going to reach for it, but we did a spot with the sheriff and the fire department about Ready, Set, Go.
Great.
So some people know more about this, but you can get these booklets. Where do people get these booklets?
That's funny you should ask. I don't have a direct answer except through the sheriff's office, and the fire departments also have these available. They are also going to give me, and I will be publicizing, they didn't know last night, but there's an 800 number that any consumer can call just to get questions answered and so on.
Okay, well, I'm going to put this back up, and Sheriff Martin Ryan, if you get a hold of the Sheriff's Department, I'm sure probably has some of these that you could get if you don't have one.
Absolutely.
Okay, and going on with what's going on upcountry. What's going on upcountry? How about you're involved at all, is your upcountry group involved in the Pine Grove
Highway
88 corridor project?
We are involved in that we have a representative that is on the stakeholder group for that project, and they are in the process now of they have held one of 3 public hearings about the alternatives, the viable alternatives that are still left on the table that Caltrans and the county is considering. I was not able to attend the meeting. I believe it was on January 16th, but we had a number of representatives there. Ted Novelli was there. Sherry Lewis, our vice chair was not Sherry Lewis, Sherry Curtis, I'm sorry.
Okay.
And what they shared with us is that it was very well attended, as you might expect. One of the alternatives that's being considered is what they call roundabouts. And I don't know if most people know what those are. They actually have them in Truckee now. They have them in a number of places in California.
I think if we told people if you would go up to, up where the mill used to be and where the water tower is.
There you go.
There's a roundabout right there where you can either, kind of go into here,
Right.
come out of.
You merge
come out
as
of
you go
Lowe's,
around.
Turn around and
Right.
go here.
And
So
as you might expect, Sherry and Ted both reported that the trucking industry was at the hearing, and they are very much opposed to the concept of these roundabouts.
I guess it would depend, and right now we're talking, so no one can really picture where they are, what size, what's the road, and
Right.
and anything. So they probably, you have to look at them in a specific area and
Right.
see if it would be work well for that area.
My understanding is there are a minimum of two areas that they would consider. One is the junction, the curve there where Volcano Pine Grove Road turns as you're going
one?
east. Yeah, really, there are several, aren't
Well,
there?
it's
For
because
those
every
of us-
road is a loop road, so there's one that comes out on the other side.
Right.
Okay.
Well, we're talking about the one that goes through downtown Pine Grove, and then you turn left and to go to Chauncey and Volcano.
Okay.
So at that, intersection, they were talking about putting one there. And then the other one, they talked about putting at Ridge Road, which people say, well, there's already a light there, so why would you do that? And so I'm just saying the comments
I
I've
don't
heard.
know, I hear, you keep hearing about roundabouts, so I think Caltrans must love them.
I would think it's a popular, relatively new idea.
Okay,
So,
new here
but-
on the West Coast, in the East Coast, they have them.
Okay.
And,
Well,
so-
it is new on the West Coast, and my understanding is the reception in this county is not very positive.
Right, now
So-
Jeff Gardner from Plymouth, city manager, I think he thinks it's a good idea. Now, like I say, I don't know. Okay?
I
have
don't
to weigh
either.
in.
My-
I'm pretty used to stop signs and four ways.
Right. My personal opinion is if it would slow the trucks down, that might not be a bad thing. but
Okay.
but then I can understand how the truckers feel.
Well, we won't get into Caltrans meeting type stuff.
Right.
What else went on?
Well, we had, unfortunately, our normal reports that are given, we didn't get. Rich Farrington, who represents, the water agency, was ill.
Okay.
So he wasn't there to give his report. Debbie Dunn was unavailable to give her report. So the main thing, we actually concluded a little bit early after we got a lot of questions answered by Sergeant Silva.
Okay.
And we plan to have the Sheriff Ryan, at our meeting as our guest speaker next month on February 11th.
Okay, so Rich Farrington was going to give a report on the water agency and
Right.
a report for the fire protection committee
Right.
as well.
Right.
And Debbie Dunn was going to speak on the Amador County Recreation Agency.
Correct.
How's the park going up there?
It's doing really well. I mean, that's some exciting work that,
It was exciting getting
Yes.
that park done and the baseball diamond and that.
Absolutely.
Okay, and so what's going to be on your agenda in the future? You have about a minute.
Okay. Again, it will be Monday, February 11th. And we have our standard, we always have Ted Novelli, if he's available, and he almost always is, giving a report on what the county in general is doing and what the board is doing. We will have, we hope, we expect the sheriff talking about, for one thing, an issue of great interest, and unfortunately I always forget the bill number, but it's the bill that would transfer a bunch of state prisoners back to the counties.
Okay.
And so,
That's been happening we're in the second year.
right. And so that we would like to know how that's going,
Okay.
and issues about that.
That's very interesting. And
Yes.
We'll keep you up to date on that as well.
Absolutely.
Okay. Thanks for coming by, Lynn.
Absolutely.
And
Thank you.
stay with us. There's more coming up on the other side of the break.
You're watching Amador County's #1 news and sports leader, TSPN.